My take on Jit Samaroo follows very much along the lines of all the previous presenters, because I think that any attempt to understand the role of Jit Samaroo in the world of steelpan and in society as a whole should consider a number of essential pillars upon which the instrument and its social, cultural, and economic assets rest. Today, Jit stands as one of the most influential and celebrated figures in this country's musical history, and the experts have already explained part of the reason why. He was a composer, arranger, and musician of extraordinary depth and vision. And as Dr. Remy just amazing presentation, he redefined the sound and structure of steelpan music, transforming it into an art form of remarkable sophistication and emotional power. So that's the music side of things. And today, well, we have heard experts in this particular area who have greatly overshadowed anything I have to say about this feature of the instrument, the music delivered by pan. Just as an aside, when it comes to the steel pan, can we think of anywhere else in the world where as many people per capita play the same instrument at the moderately high level of confidence at which Trinidadians and Tobagonians play pan? Jit Samaroo, maybe you have an answer to that. Then consider the level of innovation regarding the instrument itself and the music played on it. Here we come to Jit, and others, of course. There are others who have contributed significantly. I would only say that as an observer spanning many years, I cannot remember missing more than about 2 Panorama finals in over 40 years. If I have been overseas, I've come back home. I've been ill, and I've been able to soldier through. Also, as a student of the instrument myself, just a few years ago, I learned of the double seconds at birdsong. I would note that Jit's influence includes the insertion of a multiplicity of musical streams peculiar to the Indian music with which he was quite familiar, his knowledge and experience as a quattro and guitar playing parrandero, and his intimate understanding of tonal color and rhythm common to indigenous musical confluences, including the African drums he had heard as a child in Lopino. And then we're hearing about the piano. I didn't know about the piano angle myself. Listen to his pan arrangements, and it's there. The interplay between rhythm and harmonics. And I'm entering dangerous terrain here, but I know I have support for it. I thought about this before these presentations. So forgive me if I sound as a forthright pseudo-expert. But what I note about this is a sort of fearlessness about the insertion of diverse elements long before current trends, or before it was thought that you could integrate all these various streams. And I'm coming to my argument about why that is important. Listen to the opening statement of Mystery Band in 1993. As I tell you, I was there for most of the stuff that I'm talking about. And tell me you don't hear the strumming of the quattro and the guitar from Surrey Village. So there's pan and its value as musical instrument, and Jit Samaroo's role there. The experts have dissected that. Then there's pan as undeniable asset and center of economic activity. I've written thousands of words on this, including my concern about untapped IP value when it comes to the economics and the steel pan. But let's keep the focus on Jit Samaroo, who left school at 12 and went on to lead an entrepreneurial music enterprise in the form of the Samaroo Jets. Touring, playing, Their gig at the Hilton, we heard about it earlier, spanned decades. They were learning and earning. You tell me about economic development, about entrepreneurship, about generating economic value, and you will see that in order to achieve these things, you need a lot of learning and earning to continue going forward. When he met the woman who became his wife, I'm seeing Mrs. Samaroo here, his prospective father-in-law was, among other things, gravely concerned about their financial well-being. Mrs. Samaroo had, by that time, lost her first husband to a vehicular accident and already had 2 sons. So here was this upstart coming and wanting her hand in marriage. And of course, her father was understandably concerned. I'm sticking on this theme of economic value and how this ties in, and how Jit was an exemplar in terms of generating a livelihood with his music. But Jit had, by that time, and much of this is captured in my son's documentary on the life of Jit Samaroo, which was screened again at Surrey last evening. By that time, he had already set a timetable for realization of financial stability so as to sustain a family, and we understand his notion of family extended beyond his siblings and even the wife and the children. His family belonged to other communities, and Renegades is one of those very special communities. Then we come to Pan as symbol of resistance and defiance, and I want to spend some time on this. Some of you, I've seen some of you here who have spoken to over this, you're fed up about me talking about Pan as an instrument of revolution. If you wanted, we could start with the attempt to silence the drums, then the tambu bamboo, then the emergence of early representations of the steelpan, all in defiance of actions in 1881, 1884, some of you know the history, to something called the Peace Preservation Act. Some of this sounding a little familiar now, right? An entire model of social organization, cohesion, and mobilization arose as a response to oppressive conditions. To this day, there's nothing else that I have seen that resembles this, the Pan. This is more than this notion of school and Pan in school. We know about that interplay. And not that this isn't an important proposition, but a Panyard is an entire society within a society. Centers of learning, economic activity, cultural reinforcement, and the inculcation of values that raise real questions about our general direction as people. So I don't plan to stop asking people to tell me, what else do we do better in this place? Oil and gas? Politics? What else do we do better? Tell me. So Jit's leading role in defiantly establishing Renegade's Youth Steel Orchestra in 1999 can be considered to be one of those instructive movements in national Panya dynamics. To what extent was he in fact applying lessons learned from the launch of a Samaroo Jets Youth Orchestra to help fill slots on what had become a very demanding schedule of assignments? Remember, the Jets grew from being the Samaroo Kids to the Samaroo family to the Samaroo Jets. I don't know if there were any steps in between I'm missing there. Am I hearing succession planning? Am I hearing or understanding pragmatic action to assure financial and other viability? Now tell me, what do we do better? Pan arose as an FU to this notion that one can legislate peace into existence in the face of massive, pervasive oppression. Fast forward to Jit Samaroo Renegades, 1971. Note the period. Some of us were around in those days, the year 1970, which was itself an FU to the status quo. It was fresh in our collective imaginations, and Jit is going to renegades in 1971, 1972. You had the march, by that time you had the March to Caroni, March 12, 1970, and the banners were all saying, Africans and Indians unite. Then sometime in 71, Birch Kelman took this little Indian guy to renegades in a still heated port of Spain. Don't forget we had states of emergency, a state of emergency that stretched from 71 to 72. And here was Jit Samaroo. No march, no slogans, no banners, no fancy, iconic headwear or clothes or anything to make him stand out as this revolutionary or agent of change. Just a little Indian guy from Surrey village who refused. His home was remained Surrey village. It did not go to Spain. And that was an act of revolution, close to the end there, Jit Samaroo. This was revolution in its purest form. If you want to identify a revolutionary, this was one. He didn't have to wear military garb or combat outwear. He didn't do anything fancy to declare revolutionary intent. And I also dare anyone to quote any of Jit's public statements on the politics of the day. He wasn't somebody we in the press could call, hey, we did a comment on this one. Anthony Smart is at the back there, so we have his number. We want a quote. Who calling Jit for a quote? But Jit is waging revolution of our type, unparalleled at that time. So all it took to him to combat was an approach to pan music that would revolutionize all important aspects of the instrument. Those three things I spoke about: the music, the model of social organization, and its economic value. And he took that to the revolution and built and helped build a social model upon which it was made to thrive to its current role, hopeful. And we all need to be hopeful, and we all need to be prepared to resist and to defy and to stand up to any attempt to interfere with this marvelous revolution. I just want to close on that. Thanks.